tweet or Facebook button, paste the text that I just put there, maybe edit it if it doesn't fit or if it's too long, all right, and remove whatever it, like, I think you have to remove branding to make it fit. And I just share, and that would be really appreciated. So let me do that myself. Okay, because Blab removed the text, so now it's not super funny to do it. All right, so second thing that I need to tell you, guys, so today the conversation we're having, the topic we're having is about branding and more stuff, more interesting stuff. So please, if you have questions, just enter the slash and then letter Q and then space, and then you can write your question, and that's how we can see your question super fast and answer it. The last thing that I have to say to you, please, if all right, here we go. Oh no, it's actually the before. Okay, please give us some props. It's gonna motivate us to tell you more secrets and give more information that we don't share anywhere else. So here is how you need to do it. Just click on our nice faces, smiley faces, like I'm gonna do on David. Nice smiley faces and cat. Here we go. Giving you some props. So just click there, and now we know that you like what we're saying, and we can give you more details. All right, the final thing that's really, really super important that you need not to forget, it's please make sure to follow David, our co-host today, and Kat. And just the way you do it, it's super easy. You see our name on the top, and on the right side, there's like a small person icon. If it's white, it means you're not following us. So just click on that small person icon thing, and you're going to start following us on Blab. All right. So please do that. That's going to help us, follow you back, and you are going to be notified when we're online. So and also, most importantly, follow us on Twitter, because that's where actually I am the most active, and David too, and Kat too. So that's about it. I think I covered everything. Now we can start our conversation. So this is how it's going to happen. I'm going to click on, actually we're recording. That's really interesting. All right. All right. So let's start with our topic today, which is all about how you can step into your brand voice and own it, and hopefully grow your business because of that. Okay. And our guest today is Kat. So I'm going to let her introduce herself. Before I start, I need to remember always to introduce myself. So I'm your host. My name is Amel. I'm a digital marketing strategist. I work with small businesses and entrepreneurs and help them grow their traffic and revenue using conversion optimization and SEO, because I'm an SEO geek. And today with us, we have David, who's our co-host today. And David, can you please quickly introduce yourself, and then we're going to let Kat introduce herself.
Okay. I'm David Rosen. I'm based in the UK, and I help businesses of all sizes to get better content on their websites. You can find me at writingforseo.org. I have a new site coming along at davidrosen.com, but there's not very much on that at the moment. So if you want to have a laugh, you can have a look at that. If you want to get some information, I suggest you go and have a look at writingforseo.org. And yes, I guess that's about it.
Thank you, David. Thank you very much. So, Kat, it's your turn. So just tell us a little bit about yourself, and then we can start diving into the branding stuff.
Sure. Okay, so I'm Kat, everybody. Thank you so much for inviting me on here. And David, it's lovely to meet you for the first time as well. It's really great to be here. So I'm really passionate about working with solopreneurs, entrepreneurs, small business owners, whatever the heck label you have bestowed upon yourself. I love being your willing accomplice, let's put it that way. So my business is called The Straight Talking Ginger. It kind of does what it says on the tin. It was a name that was given to me by people who worked with me, and very quickly they said, look, Kat, you do this thing with us businesses and you just cut through the fluff and you cut through the nonsense and you get to the how-to practical part. And what the how-to practical part is, I really, my passion is profiling. That's what I do. I profile, and my background is psychology. I used to head up a covert kind of intelligence analysis department for a national agency, profiling serious and organised crime. That's what I did. And now I've kind of lifted that skill set, and now I get to work with amazing businesses doing the same kind of profiling, but really getting under the hood of you at the core of your business. At the end of the day, you are the captain of your tiny dinghy and you don't want to have to walk the plank. So that's really what I do. I work with people to work out what makes them tick, what drives them, and then get under the hood of that brand voice and draw that out. That's what I love to do.
That's amazing. Oh, this is amazing what you do. I'm really impressed. So let me. As if you're just joining us, today's topic is all about finding your brand voice and how you own it to really grow your business. Okay, that's what we're trying to figure out with Kat today. So Kat, before we start, if we're new to this, to all this branding stuff, what is a brand voice exactly?
Sure. So your brand voice is really that. It's that purposeful, consistent voice. It's you at the core of it. I think sometimes we get mixed up with what's a brand voice and what's a person voice, and the two of them are really inextricably linked. And it's really determined in the greater part by the words that come out of your mouth and the tone that you use, because you're a unique individual. And let's face it, particularly for small businesses, you need to be able to stand out, own your space on the interwebs or offline, online, and be yourself, warts and all. And I think sometimes what happens is, for people who are new to this, they dilute their own voice because they think they're trying to be all things to all people, first and foremost.
Okay.
And then second, what they're trying to do is please everybody, and not everybody's your customer at the end of the day.
That's
so
true.
What tends to happen is your voice gets a bit lost, and before you know it, you kind of, you don't even know what your brand voice is anymore. But really the golden thread is you at the core of your business. And it's really about getting that message across consistently. And of course, your brand voice is the way that you speak, the words that you use, the tones that you use in emails, but also across your digital media as well. So I hope that makes sense.
It does make sense. It's interesting. It seems like to find your brand voice, you have to be more aware of what you do or how you speak or how you interact. That's really interesting. And I mean, I never thought about that, because we always, like you said, we hear about your personal brand, your business brand, but voice, it's different. And I like how you explain it. It's really profound in a way. There's something that's coming all the time that you're doing all the time without even realizing it.
Yeah.
And you just need to be aware and look at these signals, and you can actually figure out your brand voice in this way.
Yeah.
Okay. Can you because you're saying you have to step into it and then you need to own it. So it seems like it's not that easy, because it's like you have to, yes, you have to be aware of what you're doing and how you speak and how you write, like you said. So how do you own that brand voice?
Yeah. So I always kind of say it's owning your voice with no apologies, warts and all. Now, if you take my brand as an example, Straight Talking Ginger kind of does what it says on the tin. But at the same time, I know I've got a very blunt, direct brand voice. There are a few sweary words in there. I won't use them, because at the same time, and I'm an adult, I can self-regulate depending on what audience and what stream that I'm actually on at that particular time. But the reality is, there's no point in me trying to dilute who it is that I am, because then you don't attract the right people. And if you're trying to be something that you're not, you'll reach burnout really quickly, because then you're not being true to yourself. And if you're trying to be something you're not, that's really hard to keep up over a period of time. You might be able to do it for a wee while, but we know as small business owners, your audience is very savvy. They know very quickly when somebody is trying to either copycat somebody, or they're not being themselves, or they're regurgitating something that's out there and they've not put it into their own words. Yeah, so, you know, we can spot it and we can smell it a mile off. So all the more reason to, particularly as a small business, you need to own who you are unapologetically. You know, as I said, you know, the straight talking ginger was a term given to me. And in Scotland, you know, the word ginger, I was really offended at first. I classed myself as a redhead, you know, I wasn't ginger. And I thought, that's how rude of you. But see, as soon as I owned that, because that's what I was, that's what I am, things changed for me, because then people said, Kat, that's you being yourself. We get it, we understand it. So think of it like this. What are the first words that you want your audience and clients and customers to hear from you? What are the first words out your mouth? People want to hear from me that it's nae fluff and it's nae nonsense. That's kind of what they get from me. True. And what is the first impression that you want to make on people? So you've got to have that self-awareness so that you can then regulate in terms of what your audience is, but you need to step into that. And that's really what I mean by that, is own it, warts and all, you know, like it's your best friend. Don't shy away from it.
So, David, do you have questions for Kat about, you know, like finding your brand voice and what it means exactly?
Well, I think I would, rather than come up with a question, I would basically agree with what Kat is saying. I think I think that when we're talking about small businesses, micro businesses, solopreneurs, however you want to say it, you are yourself. You have to put yourself out there in the way that you are, or else you're not gonna you're gonna end up messing up. So something that was said to me years ago now was that I should let myself go and be humorous, because I do make jokes in meetings and stuff, and there's the odd lightheartedness in what I publish on my blog, and he wasn't really a mentor to me, but that was the kind of role he had for various people, and he said, Dave, you gotta let go and be what you are. Use your humor in business. So I stopped being hung up about it.
Okay, that's good.
But that's it, David. You know, people buy from people. Let's face it. It doesn't matter how big your organisation is. People ultimately buy from people. So if you're not being yourself, there's no relationship there in the first place, really. So if part of your personality is that humour, absolutely, that's exactly what you need to leverage, and that's part of you. Yes, again, it's back to that. We understand that part of that brand and sometimes that audience need that diluted a wee bit in terms of regulation. You know, not everybody gets it. You know, I certainly wouldn't swear in front of many audiences. I do to my own little clan of people who get it and understand it. But yeah, absolutely, you just need to own it.
So, Kat, we have a question from Mike here, and he's right, and I agree with him on this question, because he's telling us it's hard to find it on your own, because our biggest strengths come so naturally to us. We don't like see them like how they are. So how do we how can you help someone find his brand voice? And also at the same time, how did you find your own brand voice? Like, what are the steps that you went through? Because this can help us figure out, okay, the step that we need to go through to find our brand voice.
Okay, so what invariably happens is we look to our competitors. We see what everybody else is doing in the same space as us. And imagine, so think to Halloween. Bear with me, this is a strange analogy. Think about a Halloween party. You're invited to a Halloween party, a costume party. And what you do is you try and find out what everybody else is wearing so that you don't wear the same, right? But in the online world, we do the exact opposite of that. What we end up doing is looking at our competitors and trying to replicate it because we think,
oh my God,
that works for them. That's what they do. So you're absolutely right about the question that sometimes the thing that we are known for is so straightforward and so easy that we fail to see it. It's like woods in the trees. So here's the one question. I'm going to boil this right down. There's a whole big scientific bit behind it. One question. What are you the go-to person for? Ask your friends. Ask your family, because they will all come back. Now, for me, it's Kat, you're organised, you do this. If I need something scheduled and set up in an event, organised, something like that, I am the person to go to. They will have invites, they'll be organised, you know, to extremes. So everybody knows that about me. And I sometimes don't see it in myself because I do it so naturally. So when it comes to the brand voice, it's absolutely critical that, yes, it is your strengths, but ask your friends, ask people, ask colleagues, like-minded people, what are you the go-to person for? Because sometimes you just can't see it. It's the thing that, say you were doing a job and you're thinking to yourself, crikey, somebody's going to find out I'm getting paid to do this. This is so easy. That's your go-to thing. Because for somebody else, it's like you saying, Amel, that your SEO, you're the kind of geeky bit of it. Yeah. Everybody else is like, SEO, I don't even know where to start. But you're like, that's so straightforward for me. I don't understand why everybody else can't do the same. So that's what it is. It's what are you the go-to?
Kat, excuse me to cut you, but you are a real profiler. You're like so right.
As I always say, I know more about you than you know about you.
That's true. Oh my God.
But yeah, so that's hopefully that gives people a really good starting point. Think about the Halloween party. Forget the online world where we look at other people and we traditionally try and replicate. Forget all that. What are you the go-to person for? And absolutely rock that out the park.
That's amazing. And like, how did you go? Like, how did you find your brand voice? Tell us the truth. Go ahead, Kat.
Well, to be honest, when I started out in business, as I say, I was kind of going along as you do. I thought if I had a website and I had a business card that I had arrived and I was a business and I was real, what a load of nonsense. Because what ended up happening was I got my website up and running and I asked some of my friends and people that I trusted, you know, what do you think? And they said, Kat, your website looks like this nice ginger lady that we've never met before. There is none of your personality in there. And I thought, you're absolutely right. There's none of my voice in there. Everything was very kind of corporate, if you like. And again, trying to be that people-pleasing type person. So taking that little step back, and actually I kind of practice what I preach. So I actually went and profiled myself, you know, using the scientific methods that I use and the tools that I use, and I profiled myself. And it was like a light bulb going on. I thought, I've been trying to be something I'm not, replicate, doing exactly what I was talking about, you know, looking at my competitors. So I love following Marie Forleo, but I'm not like glossy hair on the TV every week. You know, that's just not who I am. I'm actually an introvert. I'm not shy, but I'm a real introvert. And as soon as I understood that my profile, being an introvert, that I could rock the online space from behind the safety of my laptop, not having to go out and do the jazz hands extrovert thing that I thought was what you needed to do because that's what I was being told to do and that's what I was following. So actually just going back to basics, getting the profile right, seeing your voice and then accepting your voice for what it is. A lot of people don't accept who they are. Yeah. And it's a confidence thing more than anything else. And, you know, I work alongside entrepreneurs to get that bit of the jigsaw working again because I'm working with a girl at the moment. Obviously, I won't say names, but it's about but people think I'm this, or people think I'm a troublemaker, or people think I'm just asking questions to be awkward. No, if that's part of who you are, that's your strength and you should never apologise for it. And it's just finding a way to get that into your business and as part of your brand voice. So as I've said, mine is very blunt, direct. I might be an introvert, but I can get my point across through what I write, blogs, my emails. And I now find that when I do guest blogs for other people, what's really interesting is they'll contact me and say, Kat, you wrote that, didn't you? Because I can hear your Scottish accent.
That's amazing.
It's like I can hear your Scottish accent speaking before I even got to the byline. And that, if you think about it, that's really what you're trying to do. You're trying to speak to people one-on-one, like we're doing just now on a Blab. This is who we are. We're reaching out, we're making connections, and we're doing it in our own way, using our own brand voice and our own way that we do things.
True.
I think
Sure. And actually, David, Mike was asking, actually, like, you know, we have to use that brand voice. So let's say we figure it out, we know our brand voice, and we're so happy. All right, so now what do we do with that? Like, are we going to go and use it in just text, or is it different using it in a text format versus video versus audio and so on? Or it really doesn't matter?
To be honest, for me, it has to be consistent across whatever medium you use. Because if you think about it, when you're in that online space, you might find that video works for you. So what you need to do is make sure that you get that brand voice out. And that's a bit more straightforward because people can hear you and they can see you and there's a connection like that. But if some people are not, you know, video is the latest trend, if you like. It's the big thing that everybody's pushing you towards. But if you're like an introvert to the nth degree and you really don't want to put yourself onto a video, that's really, you're going to feel awkward and you're going to feel terrible about it. So you need to find the best way for you. So that might be blogging, but also across all your digital media, you want to make sure that the things that you're producing are just the exact same all the time. So for instance, there's loads of those inspirational memes that go about, and everybody puts them out. I don't put out the same ones. I put out things that are fairly blunt, fairly hard-hitting, probably like David, a wee bit of humour injected in there, and people see them and they think, oh, I've never heard it said that way before. I knew it was you before. You know, you didn't even need to have a logo on it, that kind of thing. So you need to find the medium that's right for you, that speaks to you, but you need to be consistent on every medium that you use.
David, do you have a question?
No, well, again, I was going to reinforce what Kat said. I think that I think that what you've got to do is you've got to stop trying to pretend that you're not. Sorry, that you're something that you're not. When you write, you've got to write in a relaxed, natural way. You've got to stop having a feeling that such and such a big brand addresses its marketplace this way, and you really like it, and you aspire to talk to your marketplace, your people, your community in a similar way, and that's rubbish. It's something that you will be shown to struggle to be doing, and you need to be able to just sit back and do your thing. You need to do your thing in front of a video camera or a microphone for a podcast or your blog. Just do it. Become relaxed and confident in your own self, and then your voice will come through and develop.
I love it, David. Oh, that's great. Become confident in yourself, and your voice brand will flow. That's actually a great idea to try, and not that easy because, like Kat said, well, we learned that we have to copycat everybody out there, do our competitive research and find out the best content that's performing the best, and rewrite something that's kind of exactly the same, but just say it from a different angle. It's not that simple. I mean, sorry to say that. It's not. I'm not trying to make this hard on you, Kat, but let's face it. I mean, I'm an entrepreneur, or I'm a marketer. I mean, mostly us marketers, we are competing with so much other marketers who may be smarter than us, or I don't know, more advanced or whatever. So what would you say to us? Like, how can we find our brand voice, own it, show it, and really win with that brand voice without being a copycat of all the other, other marketers, but doing it right and doing it successfully? Do you have like tips, like strategy, anything?
Yeah. So as I said, you need to go back and do that exercise about the go-to thing,
Yes.
but also what you really need to do is listen to what your customers and your audience want to hear from you. So there needs to be a nice kind of marriage between what you're saying and what people want to hear from you. So yeah, you're right. We've all got competitors in our space. We all have, but we need to be able to stand above that and stand out from the crowd. And to do that, again, it's about getting back to basics. It's just, who are you? What, just even open a blank page of paper, pick a topic and start to write. Don't edit it, don't change it. Just start to write how the words are coming out in your head, how you would speak them. I think what often we do is we try and speak to 100 people at once. Speak to one person. Pick somebody in your head. Maybe you've already got somebody that's already following you on Facebook or Twitter and who's quite engaged with you. Have a little look at that person, research that person a little bit. What do they like? What are they following? And then open a blank page and speak directly to them. You would be amazed. So whilst it sounds this fluffy notion of how do we find our brand voice, it's in there already. We just need to have the confidence to own it. So again, back to David's point about somebody pointing out that his humour, he would maybe have thought that that might be inappropriate in some situations. Just try it. What's the worst that can happen? If somebody doesn't like it, well, they're not your tribe, they're not your clan. And we're too afraid sometimes, if we're building an email list, to see somebody who's unsubscribed. Oh, shock horror, we take it personally. No, they're not your tribe, they're not your clan. You're not trying to speak to everybody. You're trying to connect those people who want to be raving fans. And the only way that you can do that is by being yourself. As David said, we talked about, a few minutes ago, you will burn out if you try and be something that you're not. And whilst you can aspire to have role models, and role models are a great thing to have, but what too many people end up doing is following that role model to the nth degree, where, they'll sign up to do one of their courses and they'll get their swipe files for their whole email sequence and they'll literally copy and paste it, rather than saying, right, this is the sequence that I need to go through. How would I put it into my own words? How would I say that? There's things that David don't know this, but there's terms that I use in Scotland that don't resonate across the pond, or people ask me, what was that you just said? We don't understand. I use the term joggy bottoms, right? That's sweats, right? So people think, right, okay, but now they kind of know that about me, and I could have easily changed my language to use the word sweats. I didn't.
Oh, okay.
So it's about choosing those colloquialisms in your own accent, in your own country, in your own language, and owning it. Don't change it for anybody. Let people ask you, what does that mean? I don't understand. So yes, it is difficult. I'm not saying stepping into your brand voice is something that happens overnight.
Yeah,
it takes a bit of work, but you need to get back to those basics of who are you? Who are you trying to speak to? And listen to what your tribe want. Do they want a big long blog post? Would they rather you were on video? Maybe, if you need to be on video and that's not your thing, you're maybe in the wrong direction. You need to kind of listen to the signs as well, rather than just following trends aimlessly, because that's what we tend to do. We're out there. You'll know this from marketing.
Unfortunately.
Yeah. So just remember the Halloween party and always do
I like this example. Yeah, I really love it. I think what could work best, it's, we can still do competitive research. We still can go and see what our competitors are doing really well and what's working, but maybe just instead of copy pasting exactly the same thing, maybe just take out what's working really well and do it our way, and customize it to our brand and our community. So we're kind of cloning them, but we're customizing it at the same time, so it doesn't look like a same costume. Halloween costume as them. Like maybe it has the same colors, but it's not exactly the same.
Yeah.
So
because that's it. We don't want to reinvent the wheel. We don't want to have to go back to the point where we're all starting from scratch. It's great to look at what your competitors are doing. But again, what we seem to be getting told all the time in this kind of wide ocean that is the interwebs is, do it this way and you'll absolutely make 6 figures overnight. And that is a personal bugbear of mine that drives me insane, because there aren't, it's like the new get rich quick scheme. It kind of draws people in with fancy copy and sales page, and that's not, there's no substance behind it. You really want to step into who it is you are. You're captaining your tiny dinghy here, people. You don't want to have to walk your own plank, you know, and get chucked into the ocean. You want to own it and be who you are, warts and all.
True. Like, be brave, be you, and you know, like just like own your brand. You know, Kat, you talk on your website about doing things like the new way. Can you talk about that? What is it exactly? What do you mean by that?
Yeah, so all the new way is, again, just what I've mentioned there, is stop being a sheep. You know,
I like it.
Stop being sucked in by what everybody else is doing. The people who usually are putting that out are the people that are making money teaching you how to do that. It's about you doing your business, what it is that you do, doing it really well. You know, you're an expert in your area of your business, but you need the brand voice to go along with that, again, to stick your head above the parapet.
Sure.
So for me, the new way of doing business is to stop following the crowd, stop, you know, doing what everybody else is doing, and create your own blueprint. Yes, keep an eye on your competitors. Yes, keep an eye on the trends that are coming up, because it might fit in with what it is that you like to do. But eventually, if we don't do that, what we become is that jack of all trades, master of none. And you really need to get under the hood of what it is that makes you tick, because you're at the core of your business. So you might be able to learn Facebook ads and Instagram and all these new algorithms changing. You know, you'll know that from the business that you're in. But at the end of the day, you're the one constant. You're at the core of it. So you need to lead instead of following. So that's what I mean by the new way of doing business, is actually going back to the beginning and doing it your way.
That's really interesting. And you know, I liked, Kat, when I went to your site, I found the solopreneur quiz. And I took it, by the way. It was a lot of fun. So what's your, like, you know, so you created the what's your solopreneur SAS, okay, so that, you know, people can find what type of, you know, entrepreneur they are in a way. So do you think we've been influenced, like really influenced by all this crazy hype that's going on in business? Okay, and like we lost track of what we're doing and how we're doing it. So we're trying just to copy paste what other people are doing. So does it hurt us as an entrepreneur or as a business owner to go that way? And how your solopreneur quiz can help figure out, like, okay, how can I change that?
Absolutely. Yes, I do. To answer that question kind of right at the beginning is, yes, I do think we've lost sight of it. Again, you know, when you're starting out in business, particularly in the online world, you know, you're doing research, you're in the Google University, you're chasing the shiny object syndrome, and all you're doing is doing what everybody else is doing, rather than thinking about who you are to run your business. So it's just what we've been talking about. It's a real bugbear of mine, really gets under my skin, that we're looking for this elusive blueprint that we can find, download and follow, and we will be successful at the end of it, depending on what your version of success is.
Yeah.
And we have lost sight of who we are. So the Solopreneur SAS quiz is really just like you took it yourself, you said, so a couple of minutes, literally takes you a couple of minutes. It's kind of the forerunner to all the big sciencey personality preferences quiz, but it's, you know, that's quite a long scientific part that I use as part of my business when I'm working with people. But to just give people a little taster of it, it was just a quick quiz to say, right, who are you? You're one of 4 profiles. You know, you could be an energizer, you can be an innovator, you could be, you know, the analyst. What did you come out as, actually? Do you remember what you came out the quiz as?
I'm an energizer, right, okay. Actually.
So there you go. So you're bringing people together in your Blab you know, so you're
that's what I said when I read that. I was like, oh my god, she knew exactly who I am. It's like, it was amazing.
And at the end of that, it kind of gives you a little blueprint profile that's unique to you, so that you can think, right, I should be doing business based on what those preferences are, rather than me then looking out to all my competitors and trying to replicate. So that's really what it's about. It's getting back to that core. You're at the core of your business. You're the entrepreneurial leader. And so you need to create your own blueprint. We can follow processes just like we touched on. It's obviously it's good to take a process that works, that's tried and true, but you've always got to put your own stamp on it. I always say, it's like, I mean, I don't call myself a coach. I call myself a mind detective. Because if I say coach, people say, are you a life coach? Are you a business coach? And I'm probably all of those things, but none of those titles, labels, you know, pigeonhole feels right for me. So that's why I'm saying reinvent. You know, I could be given the same message. You know, nobody's coming up with something new here. I could be given the same message as the next person, but if they don't resonate with my voice, then it doesn't matter how many times I say it, they're going to get it from the other person. And I think that's what we need to remember. Not everybody's your customer, not everybody's your client. And I hold my hands up and say, I love being Marmite. I love creating that people either get me or they don't. And that's fine by me, because I am very direct, I'm very blunt, because I just want to get people from A to B as fast as possible. But other people could give the same message, but in a softer, more caring way that maybe somebody wants at that particular time. But yeah, so it's creating your own blueprint, if that makes sense. And the Solopreneur SaaS is really just that little kind of entry, fun level way for people to kind of have a little dabble in the world of personality preferences and start figuring stuff out.
I really like that. I liked it a lot because it's the way I like it. It's short but to the point. You know what I mean? And I think with all the distractions that we have in our online world, it's, you know, it's difficult to stay focused. So the quiz was super interesting because it was fast, quick, and I got, you know, the results, and it actually really resonated with who I am, which is super. It's really kudos to you. You're amazing. And so honestly, and so the thing is that kind of the problem here is, you know, like people, what happens to them most of the time, so they take time to learn who they are, and then what they are known for, to be the expert in whatever expertise they are. And okay, so they know they have this brand voice, but it seems like sometimes it's difficult. It's like they are stuck. They are stuck in their current situation, the current who they are, and they know that they should be in that brand. They should actually embrace that brand voice. And sometimes it's difficult because you focus more on other people, on what they're going to think, how they're going to, you know, perceive you, than being you and being brave and just give value, because that's the core of it, because your business, your expertise is to give value to others. So do you have like some tips or something that can help these people who discover their brand voice, but they don't know how to get to the next step where they're going to embrace it and like, you know, go on the roof and say what's their brand voice is? Yeah.
Because what happens is exactly as you say there, people kind of get that information and they think, right, well, what next? What's the next step? How do I actually get out there and use it? And usually the thing that's holding them back is fear, because they're frightened of what people will think, what people will say. And I always give the people I work with a little mini challenge and turn it on its head slightly, to say, if you don't have 10 haters by the end of the month, you're doing something wrong. You need to be going out and actually finding people who you polarize their opinion about you, who say, how dare you speak about whatever topic and have that opinion. I actually challenge people to go out and find that, because it does two things. It gets you used to dealing with people who don't like what you do and who are vocal about it. And after the first while, it's like getting out your comfort zone. So it feels a bit personal at first, and then it becomes a competition. So I've seen people at a group I've worked with actually going from, oh, this is a terrible feeling and I feel rotten, to how many have you got? How many have you got?
Yeah, wow.
Competition starts. So it sounds a bit mad, kind of coming at it from a different point of view. But the more you do it, it's back to that failing thing. Failing, as I always say, if you think about your brain as your supercomputer, failure's not an add-on. Failure's bundled with the software. It's not an option. You have to fail a lot. And I think we've got ourselves into a cycle that we're frightened of failing, because we think, oh, we're get embarrassed, or we don't want to tell people about it. But actually, if you just go out and do it, and I always challenge people to do that, go out, write something, find a blog, write a blog, put it out there, share it, share it on Medium, share it on Twitter, wherever. Just put it out to people and ask them, what do you think? Do you have an opinion? Have you got thoughts about it? You will always get comments back. And people are usually, when you ask them outright for an opinion, they'll give you one. And if it's not, if it's not what you want to hear, the more you do it, it's okay. It's okay. Nothing goes terribly wrong by failing or getting the odd person kind of having a go. But yeah, so I turn it into a little mini challenge is what I do.
Yeah, that's actually interesting. I never heard about that. Like just find 10 people who really hate you. And
it's not.
In a way, it's just like get over it. Like get over yourself. It's you know that you have value. You need to to put it out there. And people, not all people will like you. Not all people will love your ideas and the way you talk or whatever. So just be brave. Be yourself. Give the value out there, and then you're going to connect with these specific people who will feel close to you, who will like you. They will like you. They will be in your tribe. So instead of just focusing on the audience, you would focus on your community. Yeah. So going from an audience, which is like a big number, and then inside this audience, you'll find these like this small group of people who really connect with you, and this way you're creating your tribe or community, whatever you want to call it. But it's more personal. They kind of almost, they are your advisors. You can go to them and say, hey, this is what I have. What do you think? And then they're going to give you like constructive advice. Instead of, being your haters, they will be like, giving you advice and feedback. So, I mean, I'm trying to summarize our conversation in few words, but
yeah, I think that.
So Kat, do you have I did well? Okay, that's good. So do you have some examples of people who are doing it right? Like, if you give us like maybe people or brands who found out their brand voice and they're doing it, they're crushing it online with that.
Yeah, okay, so I'm going to apologize. This wasn't intentional, but they're all women. They're all women entrepreneurs.
That's okay.
So apologies.
Sorry, David.
Apologies, guys. That wasn't an intentional thing. I just realized that these are the women that I find inspirational. So the first one is a woman called Star Kachara. She wears cat ears and wears her Prada sunglasses. And
wow,
honestly, it sounds a bit mad. This woman knows her stuff. She's all about passive income, how to create courses, and the value that she gives is absolutely immense. But what she does so cleverly is she is herself. She doesn't mind turning up on a video with cat ears on her head. And I remember, like watching, comments and people saying, what are you wearing on your head? But actually she's like, well, wow, I like them. What's the problem? So for me, she does it really well. There's no apologies. She is who she is. On the converse of that, you've got people like Sarah Hart. So Sarah Hart makes beautiful, gorgeous websites and graphics. She's an amazing creative lady. A very different feel. She's very pastels. It's very floral. It's a very feminine brand. But again, she's not trying to be something she's not. If I was trying to be like that, it just wouldn't fit at all. I'm just not, that's just not my thing. However, as we were talking about earlier, I follow her because I love what she does. I don't want to replicate it, but the value that she gives is just incredible. So again, she's somebody to check out as well. And there's, I don't know if you've ever heard of Erica Napolitano. So Erica Napolitano is a fellow fiery redhead. She is straight shooting, absolute. I mean, I say that I swear, but I tone it. She doesn't tone it down. It's just in your face. So if you're offended by swear words, then you don't want to check out Erica. But if you don't mind that kind of thing, she, again, amazing, steps into her brand, owns who she is, no apologies. And I think that's really the point that I'm trying to get across is, you know, you don't need to make apologies for who you are. It's like watching the TV. If you don't like the channel, just switch it off. Just switch it over.
Oh, I love it.
You know, just switch it over. Stop complaining about it. Stop bitching about it.
Oh, I love it.
Switch the channel over. You know, so it's kind of that, people being in your own brand voice. If somebody wants to change the channel, let them crack on and change the channel. That's what I say. And the final person that I kind of wanted to mention was the branded solopreneur. I don't know if you've heard of the branded solopreneur. So Dre is, I think she's from Italian descent. She's a Californian girl, as she calls it, and she says it how it is as well. Her branding is incredible. And again, she actually kind of pulls together exactly what we've been talking about. Her visuals, her, you know, everything in her social media feed, whether it's across Pinterest or Twitter or in her blog, you hear her in your head. You see her images and you know immediately that it's her. And that, she really kind of sums it up for me.
Wow. That
across every channel, you can spot her a mile away. So she's called the branded solopreneur. So honestly, check her out. She is amazing, absolutely fantastic. And you, as I say, once you get to know her, you can spot her everywhere across every social media. Consistency is key. So I hope that kind of gives people a few ideas out there of places to go and look for those people.
Yeah, no, that's actually great. So I'm just gonna put the name of the last example you gave. So it's brandedsolopreneur.com.
Yes, branded solopreneur.
Okay. Just correct me if I did something wrong
Sure.
there. Oh, this is really this is amazing. And you know, it seems like when you think about it, it's you kind of analyze, take time to reflect on, you know, on your, like, reflect and figure out your voice, figure out like the way maybe you think, you talk, you know, you behave or whatever, and then from there you just kind of own it. And that's the part where it's like kind of a little bit more difficult, because you need to accept who you are and have a kind of, I don't know if I'm gonna add this, but have like a vision bigger than yourself, a goal bigger than yourself. Because even if you discover your brand voice, but hey, what's next? Yeah. But if you have like a bigger goal, a bigger vision, bigger than you, then this vision, this goal will actually, you don't have choice. You don't have any other choice than embracing your brand, because you want to reach that goal. So if you want to give value and change other people's life, and you need to do video, then hey, you don't have a choice. You need to just, you know, be in front of the camera, even if you're the shy person like me, or actually it's called introvert, not shy. So that's the thing. And so once you do that, once you discover who you are, your brand voice, discover a goal that's bigger than yourself, just be brave, be you, and get out there and just stay consistent with that specific brand that you just discovered. So, so just make sure you're not all over the place. So again, focus is important here. I always say, you know, try to do one thing at a time. Don't try to, you know, do multitasking things, because it's not going to work. And I think branding is the same. Don't multi-brand yourself. So just stay consistent on one brand, and which is not easy, because, you know, you like you said, like there's a lot of shiny object out there. So you want to change your website or change your, you know, logo, which I'm trying to do myself right now. So it's not that easy. But once you do that, just get out there and give value, offer value, and just be ready. Just be prepared and ready that some people may hate you, some people may not like you, and they're going to tell it to you like to your face, and just be ready and do not take it personal. So I'm trying to summarize all what Kat was sharing with us here. If you're just, trying to figure out why I'm talking. So the idea is, just be ready for that. And maybe I'm going to add one tip from my experience. Just have like a nice words, nice paragraph that you can just copy paste and customize to answer these people who are going to be your haters. And you don't want to sound negative when you're answering them back. So you need to acknowledge their frustration or their concern or whatever they said. It's their opinion, and they are allowed to have their own opinion. Absolutely. That's okay. Yeah. So we respect everybody. And then you just say it nicely. Hey, it's fine. If you don't like me, just unfollow me or whatever. And
change the channel.
Like you said, and I like to change the channel. I love it. So just, take the remote control and change the channel. Or get yourself an IoT, which is the Internet of Things. Like the new things that's coming out, the IoT. Yeah, so you just say, hey, change the channel, and your computer will change it for you. That's the future. Just talk to your computer. So once you do that, so now, you have your plan. So that's your blueprint in a way. And thank you, Kat, for giving us this blueprint. And I think it's important for us, for you who are listening to us, like if you're doing a lot of things online. And I'm sure David agree with me, because he's in the writing industry, and he writes a lot of content for his clients. You need to have a plan. You need to have a goal for what you're giving away, like as content, the way you're positioning your brand in that content, if it's text or if it's video or audio, and just be consistent. And that's your blueprint. And keep, don't stop. Like Kat was saying, failure will happen anyway. So just try to fail super fast. I learned it from the super guru. Just learn to fail fast and just don't take it personal. Hey, stand up and just keep moving. So don't get stuck. That's the thing. That's the key. Am I forgetting anything, Kat?
Nope.
They forget
I think you've covered it. And actually, one final tip that kind of sprang to mind there when you were talking about the vision. Actually, that's where I kind of start with a lot of the people I work with is, what's the why? What's the big vision? And I always say, again, it's that kind of litmus test, if you like. If nobody laughs at your vision, you're not thinking big enough. So you need to go out and just be crazy with your vision. And if somebody doesn't say, you'll never do that, as soon as they say that, you're on to a winner. Just think of it that way. So always turn these things around. It's that mindset thing. When we're running our own business, that mindset is absolutely key to the whole of this. So yeah, absolutely. It was a great summary. I love that.
I agree with you. Like, mindset is key. And you know what I say? Just put up the, when you go to a horse race, excuse me, when you go to whatever they call them, I don't know what they call them, where you go and watch horses racing for something, to win something. They put the blinders or whatever they call them. And it's in purpose, so that the horse doesn't look right or left. The horse only looks in front of him, and he has a specific goal, and he just wants to reach that goal. So we need to try to be like that. Once we figure out our brand voice, just keep that brand. Don't try to change it or to add to it. Like, just stick to it and be consistent. And like Kat was saying, like, don't give up. Just keep going, and success will happen. The overnight success may take 10 years,
exactly,
but it's fine. Okay, it's okay. It took 10 years, but it was overnight to your brain. But it's okay. But it's gonna happen. So just don't give up, and surround yourself with positive people who will just kind of will help you refine that brand in a way. Okay, so and that's what I was trying to say here. I think we covered everything. David, do you want to add something before we close the Blab?
Nothing at all. I think Kat's covered it all.
That's good. She covered everything. So thank you, Kat, for being with us today. Thank you for sharing these great tips and strategies. I hope everybody here will go and implement please, I always say this at the end of my shows, and I'm going to say it more and more. All this information is useless if you do not take action. All right. So whatever you heard here, if you liked something, a specific strategy, take note of it, put it down on the paper, and try to take action as fast as possible, which means, okay, look at it and say, oh, how can I incorporate this new tip that Kat gave me in my business this week? And then figure out a way to try, test. May work, may not work. It doesn't matter. The thing is to take actions, and not any actions. Take strategic actions that make sense to your business and that are aligned with your goal and vision and your blueprint. So that's super important. So before I leave you all, I'm going to ask Kat to give us her website so we can follow her online. So please, Kat, where can we find you?
Okay, so I've put the little quiz in there as well. So,
Yes.
And I'll just put in my actual website as well. And I hope you don't mind me mentioning, Amel, I'm actually doing
Of course, go ahead.
a webinar. I hate that word. Again,
Nice.
I keep trying to change the language of everything.
We need to figure out a new word for it.
I'm
Kat.
going to call it,
I'm with you on this.
I'm going to call it an info bomb. That's my new word of the day, info bomb.
Cool.
And it's really just about, I also kind of do productivity and all of that kind of good stuff, you know, getting people moving forward, just as Amel said, all about the action. So if anybody's interested, I'll put it in there. You can have a little nosy at that as well. And yeah, take action, go out and just do things, fail fast. I think that's great. Fail fast, you know. Yeah, absolutely. And just be consistent, be consistent.
I agree with you. Thank you very much, Kat. So everybody, please make sure you follow Kat and you follow David. We're really active on Twitter. So it's the best place where you can find us. And at the same time, tomorrow, just before we leave tomorrow, I have another Blab. So make sure you, what I'm going to do. Okay. So I'm going to put the URL to sign up so that I can send you the link to tomorrow's Blab, excuse me. Make sure to follow me on Twitter so that you can get the direct access to the Blab. And yeah, so that's, we're going to talk about, you know, how you can make more revenue from your shopping carts. There's a lot of small businesses that are missing big opportunities in their shopping carts. So I'm going to talk about that tomorrow and give some tips and strategy to increase your conversion and make more money. And so thank you again, Kat. Thank you, David. So please make sure you come back for the next episode. And I wish you all the best and talk to you soon. Bye-bye.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.